Now we're live.
We're live now.
So we were backstage having a show for like at least a few minutes. So that's why we weren't on time today. So I blame it on me not pressing the live button. Um, what's up, everybody? How's it going? Figgy man, what's up? How's it going?
Okay, so take two. Shout out to Jose again for keeping us on time. I'm just happy to be here. Happy to talk some customs. Looking forward to StatueCon. Ready to get it going, man.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to meet everybody in person and hang out and have a beer with everybody. You know, I've been looking forward to this for a while. Like I said, I didn't get to go last year, so I didn't partake. Plus there's statues there too, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's the bonus. The bonus about StatueCon is the actual statues, but the main thing is the camaraderie amongst the collectors, and even chilling like last year. For those of you that didn't make it that are coming this year, it was a lot of fun. Like even kicking it, chilling with like the artists, like the staff over there at Sideshow. Like Anthony was there from Sideshow, a couple of those guys. We had Daniel Bell there with us. We had Carlissimo there. Like it was just a big like powwow. Even the dinners, like everybody was chilling and everybody shows walking back and forth. Everyone was jumping on everyone else's shows, having one big show. Interacting with the staff at Collector Zone. The customers coming in the Collector Zone, and then just shutting down the restaurants at night. We were even chilling with like in one of the restaurants, we hung out with the wait staff after they were like closing down, just all out there cracking up, having a good time, man. So
yeah,
it was a time.
Yeah, it sounds fun, man. I hope a lot of people that are watching the show or that are in the other shows, they're able to make it, because I would like to meet some of the people behind the keyboard comments. Especially Jose. I would love to meet Jose in person. Let him talk smack in person, but I don't think he would. So
see how fast you can do those memes live.
Yeah, I know, right? He's I think he has the program opened, and he's like, okay, I gotta do this, this, and that. I think he just watches it with the program open on his computer the whole time, just waiting.
You know who else is quick with that is It's Me Evan is pretty quick with that as well, and he was there with us last year too.
I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah,
I haven't seen It's Me Evan in a while. I haven't on any shows. No comments or nothing. So hope he's all right.
Yeah, I hit him up the other day, so I'll see if he can make it this year. Hopefully he can. We were playing video games like Street Fighter against each other, because there are some video games upstairs at Collector Zone. So, man, yeah, it was a blast.
I think we're gonna try and do like a custom show while we're there. Like some of the guys that have collected like customs for a while. I think Jerry was wanting to have like a little custom show, like me, Jerry, and maybe Mr. X and a couple other, maybe Jim Mint, maybe have him come on. That'd be a dope show, because all of them collect customs. So that'd be dope. Yeah, real fast, just say hi to everybody in the chat. Let's see here. What's up, Luke? How's it going? Jose, calling his names as always. CMP Go Boom, what's up, man? Look. He's trying to match me. Gun show day.
Someone sharp real quick. Okay.
Let me go change. I want my titties out
too. Get some side boob action going for the views. Yeah. Me and CMP kind of figured out what gets the views these days. So
let me do it.
Oh, you got to put an MC-17 rating on the
show. Yeah. You didn't miss much, Steve. We're just saying hi to everybody in the chat right now. Carl, what's up, man? Mr. Popo, what's up? Let's see here. G Moya, what's up, man? Random Korean, how's it going? Norman Witch, how's it going, man? How you doing? Let's see here. Who else here? The most random of Koreans is in the house. M Tel, what's up, man? X-Men exclusive, how's it going? And Beast 51, how's it going, man?
Godzilla.
Did he make it to StatueCon last year? I think he's close, isn't he?
Kenzilla?
He's
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, man. So that was the funny story. Like his wife eats her food the same way as mine, with everything.
Oh yeah, okay. That's who else was doing that.
Yeah, and we just happened to sit right next to each other, and we were both eating like one section at a time, making sure
we were all just watching you eat. Both of y'all eat.
Yes, it was amazing.
Ken, are you going to StatueCon this year? What's up, Nelson? CMP, man, what's up? How's your day going?
I don't get a day for CMP to do anything. So, I gotta be Mondays is for her, Tuesdays is for me, Wednesdays for Jarhead, Thursdays for her, Fridays for her, Saturdays for her, Sunday.
First of all, I think I need to get more days.
I know.
Than everybody else.
Everyone
Just
the same thing. But no, it's been going pretty well. Like I went to Costco and bought a lot of crap, so reloaded the fridge. But thanks for the invite.
Man, are you gonna go to StatueCon or not?
Probably not.
Ooh.
I saw the tickets, but they're like $500 now. I should have bought them when it was $200.
Go on kayak.
Oh,
You'll
Piggy,
find
I know.
something.
I know more.
I just looked and they weren't that bad. So at least for me.
I know more sites than you, Piggy.
Clean sites.
Clean sites. Me and Piggy were just talking about all getting a big like house to like maybe make the cost cheaper. So
that'd be cool.
Let me know if you end up doing it that way. I think I found a 5-bedroom like house to like rent for the weekend.
I will let you know.
Kenzilla said he will be there.
Yeah, let's see. What's up, Brenton? Hey, Brenton, if you want on, let me know. I'll send you a link.
He also said Steve let us down. No, I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, you're good. You're good.
Real fast. Today was kind of like a thrown together kind of topic. I came up with it last minute. It was like, what do you prefer out of your collection? Do you prefer more comic accurate statues? Do you prefer comic accurate statues, or do you prefer more like realistic like statues, like detail and paint and all that? What do you prefer and why? Steve, what do you think? What are your ideas about it?
I do like the comic book style because like you're talking about movie stuff, right, and stuff like that. Is that where you're referencing?
I'm talking about just anything that's in your collection, like comic book character, like whatever is like your main focus. What do you? It doesn't necessarily have to be movies. Just anything. Like, do you prefer realistic statues over comic statues?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, like I think like 95% of my stuff is comic based, but I would hate it to be 1000% comic based. I want the artistic approach too, from Sideshow, from XM, from Prime One. I want that little approach to it. The realistic ones, like I'm too judgmental on those. Like, oh, like this angle looks too chubby. This angle he looks too like fake.
I'm not necessarily talking about like realistic like movie piece. I'm talking about like comic piece painted like realistically, like XM or like how Prime One does it. It's still comic book, but it's more realistic looking versus like something like Sideshow. Like look at the X-Men line of Sideshow. That's more comic booky, right? That's more like less detail and it's more vibrant colors and that kind of stuff.
Since Jarhead's mic keeps breaking off, I'll translate what he said. He's looking for. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I tend to go more like. I guess a good example would be the Guts from J&D. They took the realistic approach to that. Would you say?
Yeah.
Sure. I definitely go for the comic book approach. Again, the freaking realistic approach too judgmental. Like I complained the whole time about like that looks realistic, but nah, like I want the comic book base. But again, I don't want it to be 100% like Frank Miller drew it out of the freaking book or sculpted it out of the freaking book. I want a little bit of like sideshow approach or prime one approach. But yeah, the realistic approach I try not to take too often with all my pieces.
What about you, Piggy?
Kind of like what CMP was saying. I like a mix and match. What's weird is as much as I can't stand for stuff to be mixed, even down to IPs, it kind of depends on the statue. Like a good example, I was gonna say realistic turtles, but with the Ninja Turtles, right? For the actual brothers themselves, I went with the Prime One, like from the movies, because that was the version that stood out to me. I didn't want the cartoon version. I wanted to see them how they were depicted in those movies that they chose to model them after, with Prime One. But at the same time, when it came to April O'Neil, I got the cartoon version because I think I was able to get away with kind of like integrating her in with the movie pieces, even though she was a cartoon piece. And the same with Shredder. Like I love the PCS Shredder. I think the PCS Shredder is amazing. But well, actually they're both PCS, but you know, there's the cartoon one and then there's like maybe the movie version or the more human version. And I went with the cartoon version because it didn't take up as much real estate, and I was able to kind of seamlessly mix in those cartoon pieces with those realistic pieces. So I use that as an example. Like I wouldn't want my collection to be 100% just all like realistic or movie based or actual like human depiction, and I wouldn't want it to be 100% like comic book or anime based. I think it just kind of it depends on the statue and it depends on the character. Like for Blade, okay, this is a good example. For Blade, I had to have one or two that look just like Wesley Snipes because I could care less. Not I could care less, but when it comes to that representation in my collection, I don't need the video game version or I don't need the comic book portrait. When I think of Blade, I think of Wesley Snipes. So that's what I want to see. You know, I wanted that Wesley Snipes for Blade. But then with certain other characters, like if it's a Storm, as much as I love Halle Berry, I don't want a Halle Berry Storm in my collection. I want the Storm from like the comic books or from the animation, like X-Men 97. I want that depiction because that's what pops in my mind when I think of Storm. So it's kind of character driven.
So I'm not necessarily talking about movie.
Sorry.
What?
I swear, like every single time we try to answer, you're like, I'm not necessarily talking about. We're like,
I'm not explaining it very well, I guess. I'm not talking about movie pieces, right? I'm talking about like a statue that's painted realistically, like that's got more detail. Not necessarily a character from a movie like Wesley Snipes or whatever. I'm not talking about that particular, because that to me that's a different thing. That's if you collect that, you want it to be realistic. I'm talking about like a Magneto, right? An example here I'll share. So this to me is painted and sculpted realistically, right? It's got a lot of detail, the shading, the way the paint is, that kind of stuff. That's what I'm talking about. And I kind of using the show from last week as an example because it seemed like a lot of people liked more of the realistic more than the comic book. There was a lot of people like digging this one, right? And there was, let's see, this one, right, was more comic book to me. It looks more comic book accurate than the previous one. To me, the other one looks more realistic, if that makes sense. You get what I'm saying?
Real world depiction.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not necessarily talking about a certain depiction of a movie star. I'm just talking about is the paint more realistic? Is there more details in the sculpt? That kind of stuff.
I still think it depends on the piece, and to give a good example, without like mentioning movies or where I got it from or whatever. So Iron Studios, I have 2 of their 10 scale Storm pieces, and one is painted more cartoony, and one is like more real world depiction. She like one is actually like a shrunk down version of the XM Studios one, where she has like the whirlwind under her or whatever. And I like them both equally. And then, so I got both of them. And then it just depends on where I wanted to display one or the other. I guess I use that as an example to say it still depends on the piece, because like I might look at this Cyclops and say, oh, without a doubt, I like the more real world depiction and I don't like the comic book version as much. But then you might bring up a Beast and I might say, you know, no, I like the Beast. I want the comic accurate one, and not one that, as weird as it sounds, not a real world depiction of Beast or how he would be painted.
Piggy, you need to pick a side. Don't be sketchy, man.
I'm independent.
Yeah. Would you say like XM Studios is more realistic approach, or would you say yeah? Okay, so I feel like you're trying to say, or I'm getting at is, or you're trying to get at is the more modern take than like the comic, what you call it, comic booky.
I guess that's what I'm saying.
More vibrant paint.
Kind of what I brought it up. Yeah. You can tell like it's more like sideshow stuff's more comic booky, right? But then you got Prime One. You got Prime One that's not comic booky at all. It's more realistic. Look at all their Batman stuff. Yes, they got the hash marks, but it's still their skin tones and everything is more realistic looking than comic book looking to me. Same thing how XM used to be. So now that we don't have XM to have those kind of statues, that's where I was getting at, is like, where do people go if they want a more realistic looking statue? Because sideshow to me isn't it. They're not realistic. It's more comic book painted and the details and everything.
Prime One, LBS, and Blitzway. I think all three of those gives you like a more realistic, more vibrant paint, vibrant skin shading, realistic hair, even down to some of them, like some of the Weta and some of the you know, they're doing the rooted hair and stuff like that. Who is it? J&D that does like almost like mannequin type. I don't want to say mannequin, but very realistic looking characters. And if I have to pick a side, like CMP said, like, I mean, I still love both, and I'm going to lose my CGC stand-in when I say this. But when it comes to the statues, I will probably say I lean more toward the more realistic looking ones than the comic accurate ones, because I think the paint, like the paint is different. Like the paint that you see on and I'm not taking this to paint, it's just coming up and like how we're saying they're more real world depicted. I can get pops.
Look at your example of your Yoshagi Yojimbo statue, right? They could have really easily have gone really comic booky with that, but they didn't go that way, and you love that more realistic take on that statue, correct? That's kind of what I'm getting at. But at the same time, so you're more of a Marvel guy, right? You don't have a lot of DC stuff.
Yeah, more Marvel than anything.
So am I. I don't collect anything DC. So where do we go if we want something realistic? Because that's what I go
LBS,
towards, right? Yeah, but you collect 1/3?
Yeah, some. Yeah, I do.
Okay. I know where I go. I go customs.
Custom. Well, yeah. Well, okay. I got a perfect example for what you're talking about, because a big bulk of my collection is Motu. I'm like the Masters of the Universe guy, and there are depictions that look more comic booky or more filmation, and there are some that look very much like modern human, or what, for lack of a better term. And as much as I love both sides of it, I like the more modern ones, like the ones that depict it to look more realistic than more closer to the cartoon or the comic book. So even then, but I love them all. But if I had to choose, I'll lean more towards the more realistic looking.
And it's funny to me because in the comics, because I put this post up on Facebook, right? And the majority of the people said comic book, right? They said like a mixture comic book and realism, but it was mostly comic book. And I'm going to get to something later that I find interesting, but we'll get to that later. But real fast, I'm going to go to everybody in the chat and see what they're saying. Let's see here. Brent says Piggy wanted really wanted Blade from the live action show. And XM Scooter says, I know what Jarhead means. Like XM Cable is comic, but realistic styling. Yes. Random Pierce compared to flat paint, comic style, level 1 painted. Let's see here.
What would Thanos on Throne be from Sideshow to you? Is that realistic?
That's more realistic to me.
Realistic.
They don't do that very often though. They don't do, like, you can tell more of a comic booky take on a character. Like the X-Men line is a prime example. Like if I was to buy, let's say, the Beast, right? And compared to the Beast that I have coming, one's more a realistic take. I'm not gonna have that guy paint my Beast, you know, bright colors. It's more of a comic book take on Sideshow's part. Look at all their whole lineup. Like that post you made the other day with all of them in a line, it looks like X-Men '97, right? Like the comic book version or a cartoon version. I like the more realistic stuff. You know, I've always gone that way, or like you said, more modern take of it. Beast 51 says definitely realistic and comic. Perfect example will be new custom thing they just revealed. Looks very real. It's still comic based. Keesis, of course, is hating. Why would I want my comic book characters realistic? You could have said that a little bit more respectful.
Hater.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, is this his birthday?
I believe it's no. It's not the other haters. It's Walt and Chunky.
Oh, okay.
I knew it was one of the haters.
You know, I was thinking.
Go ahead.
You said that you got a mixture as far as on the Facebook post, and I'm wondering if a lot of people's brain immediately went to like movie versus like animated or comic, you know what I mean? Because some people would think like, no, I would take a Prime 1 Superman over like whatever version of like Henry Cavill or J&D's Christopher Reeve. I think that's where a lot of people's mind may have gone.
So another example, Superman Hush, right? Versus Sideshow Superman, the one he's flying, the new one. Mm-hmm. To me, one looks way more comic book accurate, more comic booky than the other one. Like
the one with the Kucheric brothers cape?
Yes. That was more comic booky than the Prime 1 to me.
I'm gonna get kicked out the community for this, but because I know that Superman Hush is like the creme de la creme of our collecting community. As I'm looking at it behind CMP, I love it, but I low key like the Sideshow one a little better because I love that Kucheric cape. I love.
I knew I didn't like Piggy.
I knew that was coming.
I knew it. I felt the trap door opening underneath me when I said it.
Also, I'm feeling a little hated on here. I think Keith is a little jealous.
I didn't get my tan on, so I'll get my tan on. Don't worry, Keith.
Don't be jealous, Keith.
I would say so a good comparison would be like the
is what I'm saying making sense though now? Like
yes, a little bit. We're making it sense for you. So a perfect example would be the Sideshow Cyclops versus the XM Cyclops, right?
Yeah.
Like because like
exactly.
Yeah. So I would honestly, if I were to pick out those two, I would go for the XM one, just because it has it does have a comic book feel to it, but it's like realistic approach. Like they modernized the suit, they modernized like his gear. Where I would fall back with the comic book stuff would be, I guess, would you consider Bishop a comic booky one or a The new Sideshow Bishop.
Yes.
Really?
It has hints of realism though on it.
Yeah. Like his
That's not
portrait.
that's not a really good example. To me, like the Cyclops is more comic booky.
Yeah.
The Fastball Special, that's more comic booky. I think they did a pretty good job with the Bishop. Archangel to me is a little more comic booky. That kind of stuff. The portraits on Magneto are more comic booky to me. So,
I think like on the other side of the token, I think a lot of people that may say I like the more realistic one better. I wonder if it's that they like the more realistic one better than a comic one, or they like the paint jobs on the more realistic ones, because sometimes it's the paint that catches the eye. A lot of times a good paint job will make you choose one statue over the other. And when you're using Prime 1 or old school XM, a lot of times like you get mesmerized by the paint and you're like, no, this is the best one out there. I've got to have this one. And it may not necessarily be better than one of the sideshow pieces. It just may be that the paint pops. Because if you think about some of the ladies, even on some of the like anime or comic book type of versions, Sideshow has done some lovely portraits on their female characters that are like comic book statues. The paint just falls flat.
So even the like XM, what they used to do, they used to modernize the suits, right? They used to take a little liberties here and there with the suits. Some worse than others, but Sideshow seems pretty true to the comic book uniforms, right? They seem very straight from the comic books. They don't deviate very often from the comic book material, from the source material. So that's another aspect of what I'm talking about too, is like I like a little bit of like that modernize it, like the textures and the suits. Like for instance, I like the XM Nightcrawler. I know not a lot of people liked it. They wanted that more comic book look.
Sideshow, I think that's a perfect example too. The Sideshow one definitely took the comic booky approach with the bright colors, the Banff looking like a cartoon almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
But that's legit one. I would pick the Sideshow over the XM one because the XM one overdid it, I thought.
But sometimes people hate when Sideshow takes that license too, because like what do they always call the Phoenix one, the lasagna Jean Grey or whatever?
The best Phoenix out there from Dion's perspective.
Yeah.
Can y'all see this?
Yep.
Okay. So I asked this question in the Facebook group. So do you prefer realistic depictions of your favorite character, or do you prefer comic book accurate? Where do you buy if you prefer the latter, specifically when it comes to Marvel? Because, like I said, the more realistic stuff I see in Prime 1 or LBS, and I don't necessarily LBS either, but because most people don't collect 1/3 these days, they collect more quarter scale. So, and I was kind of putting that out there. It's like, so where do you go now that the XM isn't here? Jimmy says, I like comic book. Huh?
I'm sorry, just like really fast, because I don't want to forget this point. It's something that you brought up, and it's a good point. Doom is one of my favorite characters, and I have one Doom and one coming. And a lot of the licensed companies that have attempted Doom, it never did anything for me. But the customs, both that took, we'll say, more of a realistic approach and how they went about it, it was like a day one. Like I was immediately drawn to them. It was no questions asked. It was like, I gotta have it, and I'll figure out where to put it later. So pause. I think for sure. I think that was a perfect example where it's like sometimes, and I thought about it when you said, where do you go? I think with a lot of these, if the more realistic is what you're looking for, I think custom is that route, because not just Doom, think about Darkseid. That Darkseid that's coming out, man. Yeah. That's the dopest Darkseid I have ever seen, hands down. And if I had the room, it would be day one. So I think Marvel,
it's not, and I wouldn't consider that comic booky at all. I would consider that more realistic take on a comic book character. And that's what I'm getting at. Like I think a lot of people don't realize they like more of the realistic take on stuff than they realize. because everybody says comic book, right? Jimmy says I like comic book with a little bit of realistic, like the suits is comic and the portraits are comic, or vice versa. You can't go wrong with either one, in my opinion. Realistic. Kenneth says realistic and comic. I want skin and clothing textures. The eyes and teeth on the portrait need to have a realism to them and a very good anatomy sculpt. That's not asking for too much, right? Anthony Kennedy's is comic.
Keep it simple.
Huh?
He kept it so simple.
Yeah. I can't pronounce this guy's name. Sorry. Comic costume with realistic texture, semi-realistic portrait. Jeffrey says comic. The next guy says, for me, it depends on the concept. For battle scenes, I like to keep it more comic accurate. Standalones, I'm open to interpretation. Bond says, I always try to do comic with some realistic take on it. Give it some depth with the texture and such. Michael Williams, I don't know who that guy is, says comic. Akira says comic with a bit of realism. Beto says comic. Jose, let's just skip him. I don't care about his what he says. Anthony says definitely love the comic accurate, but with modern take on the outfits sometimes, which is why XM used to be my favorite X-Men company, taking liberties on their own style uniforms, sticking to comic source material for most of the face sculpts. John says comics, and that's it. So.
And then Robert bothers everybody by posting everyone. God damn it.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, Piggy.
I was gonna say really fast while I still have these on my desk, and this will be my last time showing them. Like, this is a good example right here of like one's comic and one's more human, like the Kotobukiya is like more humanistic or more realistic or whatever. And I like both of these equally, but if I had to get rid of one and keep one, I will honestly get rid of this one and keep this one because I like the interpretation of it better. But I love both pieces. So I think it kind of depends on your setup, and you could go one way or the other. But I like this question because it made me think about it, because I have never really thought about it in that way, because I have a mixture of which one do I like the best. And if I like the more realistic ones, where would I go? And honestly, I didn't even think custom until you said it. And I started thinking about my Doom and like my Wendigo versus Wolverine. If I really think about it, some of my favorite pieces, if I had to name my top 5 favorite in my collection, at least 3 of them, 3 of the 5 are custom pieces, and they're more realistic than comic book. So it was a good question. If you think about your collection.
Kind of what this goes back to too is Matt, who's not here right now, brought up to me too. Like, I was thinking about getting a piece, and the piece that I was looking at getting, it was more comic-y, right? Comic booky. And he was like, why are you getting that piece? I was like, well, it's a dope piece, blah, blah, blah. He's like, well, it doesn't really fit into your collection. And I didn't think about it, right? I was just looking, I was like, you know what? He's right. It doesn't, because it's very comic book-y compared to all my other X-Men have. All my X-Men have like that XM kind of look to it, where it's more realistic, paint, all that stuff, liberties on the suits, etc. And it's just funny to me that people that say automatically say comic, but is that the case? Is that really what people think? I don't think it is. I think more people like realistic over the comic book stuff than comic book accurate. There are people that like strictly comic book. That's all they want to see is straight comic book, but I don't think that's accurate. And I get to why I think that later. But like for me, when Matt brought up that talking point to me, I was like, you know what? He's right. I don't really collect comic booky looking statues. It's more realistic looking statues, anatomies, the details on the suit and everything. And then the new Cyclops thing is what got me too, because it seemed like more people were interested in the Cyclops. Here, let me bring it up.
I think the answer is going to be a mix of everything, like realistic-y and comic booky. because
Yeah.
like people complain when the teeth look crappy and when they take the realistic approach or they make them look like there's tartar in there and everything, or the gums are like wet and everything. They're like, oh my
Yeah.
god, you see the teeth on that thing? They did the teeth amazing.
It's harder and everything.
Yeah, because that freaking Modoc's coming out, and I was like, oh man, I can't wait for that thing. But they took the realistic approach on that one, right?
So when you guys look at this piece, what do y'all think? Is it more comic book accurate or more realistic looking?
I think it's comic booky because like the solid colors, there's not that much like the suit isn't really modernized and like the paint way and the paint aspect, but I think it's more comic booky.
What about you,
And
Piggy?
I think the version that's displayed right here is more comic booky, but I think the swap out over there on the bust is kind of more realistic, as crazy as that sounds. And that's because of the expression, the lines in his face, you know what I mean? So I think with this, you had an option to go either way.
Okay. Like this is kind of middle ground, right?
Yeah.
What would you consider, Jarhead?
I would consider it more less comic booky than it is like I would consider it more realistic than it is comic booky. Just because of the head sculpt. The head sculpt to me looks more realistic. The skin tones, everything, the hair, everything on it doesn't look comic book to me. It looks, especially like you said, Piggy. This one right here. This has got a lot of detail and shading. The jacket looks more detailed. To me, it looks more realistic. Yes, it doesn't have as much textures on the suit and stuff like that, and they didn't take liberties that much on it. But it looks like somebody would wear like a one piece or whatever. So to me, this is more realistic than it is comic book. But that's my opinion. Like this to me is more comic book looking. Like it's less detailed than the other one that we just saw. This one is more realistic to me, right? Than the sideshow one. It's got more detail. It's got like if you look at the concrete and everything, it looks more detailed. The costume's a little bit more modernized. They took a little liberties on the costumes to make it look like an actual suit. Mm-hmm. And like I said, to me, like if I go back to this, it looks more comic booky, right? Or am I mistaken?
No, I agree with that.
You're entitled to your opinion, so.
So this one is, to me, it's more realistic because of all the detail on it. I don't like it because it's too much, but to each their own.
It's a mix of like the detail, the paint, the sculpt overall. Like you won't see like those folds as much as like on a comic book piece than like what you see here. Like and also the base. They took like liberties with like the fake ass like plants. They gave that to.
So when it comes to if you were to like choose between these three, and I know we looked at like 80 Cyclops the other day, but if you had to choose between these three that we just looked at, would you say you lean more toward the comic book version because you didn't like the over texturization of the more realistic ones?
I think it goes back to for what I said earlier. This is gonna be a mix of both. Like I think XM did it perfect. They did mix up like the modernization, realistic-y aspect with like the comic book style. They put the realistic thing on top of the comic book style. I think they get away with it really, really, really well.
So I would pick this one over those three.
Really?
Yeah.
Because...
to me, it's that perfect mixture, and I don't like statues just standing still. But to me, it's like the perfect combo of the realistic and the comic book.
Luke says XM as details. IRC says hold my beer.
They probably had a few when they designed that too. But then it's like this is to me is like more realistic, right? So realistic take on Cyclops. But then this one obviously is comic book. They did a really good job. I like the statue a lot, right? Like, but to me, like if I've got it, it's gonna stand out. It's gonna look different than my rest of my statues because it's more comic booky. Like I love the statue, and maybe that's not a reason not to buy the statue, but I think it'll stand out in my collection. Like even the Sentinel, right? The Sentinel doesn't look realistic. It looks
Oh, I can't
plastic.
stand the base. I can't
Yeah,
stand the Sentinel base, but I love the rest of the statue. Was
yeah.
this the one you were referring to that you talked to Matt about?
No, this is a conversation me and Matt a long time ago. But it kind of brought up that idea when we were going over Cyclops, when we were talking about it, because I just noticed that you've got um, this statue, right, which everybody loves, and this to me is no one asked you. This is a more realistic take on Cyclops to me than all the other statues. This is to me is a badass statue. It still has that the comic book aspect to it, but then it's got that realism and dirt and like grime, and like you can look on the boots and they're dirty. It's more a realistic take on the Cyclops.
I feel like
This
our
actually-
answers will change with like the characters and like the pieces coming up. I think that's what somebody else said earlier, but
Yes, it depends on the character and the piece.
yeah.
Okay, fair example. Fair example, right? Real fast, I'm going to go over everybody's comments, see if anybody made good comments. So he says, Figurcon says, more modern and realistic statues have a darker tone to them. I agree. See, Random Korean says realistic requires more skill in sculpt, portrait, and paint to pull off, right? However, comic style can more easily get away with lower quality production, which I agree, because that to me is a sideshow. I can tell a sideshow piece from a mile away. Comic book might have more to do with whether or not the statue tells a story or the simple museum pose. G Vega, like I was saying a second ago, those boots scream comic. See here, the Cyclops has a Jim Lee outfit on, but a realistic face sculpt only. That's the first one we were talking about. Let's see here. Beast 51 says, I'm looking at all my Predator pieces that are comic book based and look extremely detailed and have a very real look. I would not want it any other way. These pizzas are by XM and Prime 1. I think he meant to say pieces. So so like he's more drawn to the realistic stuff, and I think a lot of people are. I don't think people realize how much they're drawn to their realistic statues, and the reason why I say that is grail pieces, right? Think about grail pieces for a second. You got Superman Hush, you got you got Hulkbuster, right? You've got Ghost Rider. You've got what other grail pieces are there? Phoenix, XM Phoenix. What other grail pieces can you think of?
Thanos on Throne, Galactus,
Storm.
Red Hulk. All the pieces I have.
So to me, all those pieces that we just talked about, all the grail pieces, are more realistic than comic book.
But you gotta admit, they all are based from like a comic book, like the aspect, like
of course, they're all comic book characters, right? But
yeah.
They either have taken liberties with the statue to make it look more realistic, or they painted it to a point to where it is more realistic and added more detail than you would have in a comic book. But every single one of those grails.
Mm.
I just thought it was interesting because I never thought about it. I was like, well, everybody's saying comic book, right? But look at all the grail statues. To me, they don't scream comic book. They scream more realistic than comic booky, more than animated. I can't think of one animated looking grail quote unquote statue. I can't.
That's what I said. I think most people's mind, even it's been clarified, but I think when they initially read it, they probably thought like movie pieces versus kind of like animated type of pieces, and then they think like, I don't want an actor portrayal, I want just a basic depiction of it. And then I think like once we've broken it down and went further in discussion about it, most of those people would probably change their mind if they had to go back and repost.
Yeah.
I think the person that gets away with it is Bowens. Like Bowens are like 100% like comic booky, like I would consider. I think these are grails for me, at least. Like they look so freaking good in person. But
Bowen and Diamond.
Yeah.
Those statues were made so long ago, right? And they always were more comic book. But I think as time progressed, like statues got more detailed and got better paint and got more realistic looking than comic booky, if that makes sense. Like we didn't go the opposite. We didn't go realistic to comic booky. We went from comic book looking statues that were more what we would consider more animated style, more comic book style to realism. The
Artist
dirt.
interpretation.
Yeah, exactly. Like Hulkbuster, for example, right? That's got so much detail in it. It's ridiculous. Like the dirt on the Hulkbuster costume and like the detail and all the little mechanical parts. And if it was just one big smooth piece of metal, I don't think people would love it as much because it doesn't have as much detail, right? And the paint, is like that candy red paint. That's realistic. Like it's a realistic take on a comic book character. What's up, Matt?
Gentlemen.
Hey, we're talking about realism versus comic. You kind of got me on this topic a while back. I don't know if you remember, but I was interested in getting a statue a while back, and you asked me why I was getting it because it was more comic booky and it didn't really fit into my collection. And
that was me. When
we were going over the Cyclops statues the other day, it got me thinking about it again. Because I love that Cyclops, but like you said, it wouldn't fit in my collection. It would look odd. It would look out. And I was trying to explain that in the post and have everybody understand what I was meaning behind that. But yeah, that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah, the devil's in the detail. First, what's up, guys? Sorry, late night, a lot of stuff.
You're good.
Love the fresh cut, Dryhead.
Oh yeah.
Rico Suave.
You know what I mean?
No, nobody else said anything, but appreciate it, Matt.
We'll get rid of those types of people.
Yeah, get him out of here.
He's still sweaty from San Diego. I can smell him from here.
Oh yeah. If you only knew.
No. Yeah, man, it's the devil in the details, right? There's nothing wrong with that, obviously, right? If you have a collection, you're going to collect a lot of different things. Whether it's a quarter scale, you could put in a bust with a 6 scale or whatever. But yeah, for the most part, and that's, I remember, I think it was Anthony had said with that line of X-Men that they're going for the comic look, right? Which is fine, it's cool, but it's me personally. I like statues that have the detail in them that look more realistic, or even if it's a comic character, it still brings a level of realism and detail to the statue. I think for me personally, if a comic statue is a step above an action figure, you know what I mean? Yeah. I guess for me personally, I think especially when you pay this kind of money, that's a lot of money. And when the because when you look at a statue, you really embrace it, right? You look at the statue, look at the detail. You can see that I know I've heard detail doesn't always necessarily mean quality. I mean, in a way, it does. It's like there's time put into it, right? There's stuff put into it, and I don't mean necessarily quality as in the material used. You know what I mean? But that's just a personal preference, But then you got a lot of people that collect, a line of statues. Like you can look at Bowens, right? When you have a cartoon, type statue, it's like a Bowen to me. It seems like a big Bowen, which there's nothing wrong with. I love Bowen. You guys know I love Bowen, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But for my quarter scale pieces, I prefer something that's got a lot of detail.
More detail. Norman's saying a lot of the bone pieces are actually pretty realistic. To me, I don't. There's a lot of them to me that maybe kind of are, but to me, the majority of them are more animated style, more comic book style. To me, and maybe you don't have to agree with what I'm saying, Norman, but to me, it's more that flat paint doesn't have a lot of texture, doesn't have a lot of detail. Something like the Omega Red behind you, right? That's more realistic. That's got all kinds of great paint. The detail is amazing on it. And I think me and you, Matt, have a lot of the same ideas when it comes to statues because we appreciate the details and all the little dirt on his boot or like to me that makes the statue pop. That realism that I don't want a statue that's just painted flat blue and it just has no detail to it and
But
to me, I want all that detail.
Yeah, but again, you have some guys that'll have like a line, right? And they're going to collect that line, and that'll be their representation of that line. I get X-Men 97s out, so that's what they were probably doing.
Yeah.
My only gripe is, and I said I'm the biggest Sideshow fan. I'm also their biggest critic. I've had more than half my collection of Sideshow. I love Sideshow, but my biggest gripe is the fact that if you're going to do it. Like for example, the jacket for that Cyclops, I really like that Cyclops piece. I think it's a dope piece.
Yeah.
Imagine if it was done with the quality of some of these customs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or with the detail, shall I say, with some of these customs. My gripe is if you're gonna put the detail on the jacket, but not the rest of the statue. What's the deal there? It's supposed to be a cartoon or a comic style statue. I guess that's the style that you're gonna go for. Good, then why not make the jacket comic style?
Yeah.
Jacket has a lot of detail. The elastic's all lined out. There's bumps on the jacket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Crinkles on it. Zipper. You know what I mean?
I love that statue too. It's a great concept. It's a dope statue. But when I think of it in my collection, I'm like, that statue's gonna stand out. Like when you look at it, it's gonna be like, oh, that's weird. That's a weird statue to go along with all the other ones that you have.
Yeah, because when you look at the quality and detail of say you put it up there with your Omega Red versus Wolverine.
Yeah.
From a distance, it's gonna look cool.
Yeah.
But then when you get on it, you'd be like, okay, well,
something's off. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Oh, so this is your $400 statue.
Yeah. Like you can tell the difference. Like to me, that has to do with the quality too, right? Like to me, it correlates. And that's what I was getting at too, was because these days there's not many places that we can go to get that kind of quality anymore, right? We don't have XM. Well, they're iffy, right? So we don't have really them anymore to go to get a statue. Where do you go?
Well, no. Well, Sideshow can do it. Sideshow does it. They've done it with other pieces. They can do it. They do.
Thanos on Throne. That was one we were talking about earlier.
Exactly. Thanos on Throne. Yeah. Even some of their own individual line with the Court of the Dead stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they can do it.
So Johnny had a question. So just taking this Sideshow Cyclops piece as an example, if you really like that statue, but your collection leans more towards like a realistic approach, an artistic interpretation approach, and this one leans more towards a comic approach, would that dissuade you from getting it because it doesn't fit in with the other pieces? Or would you still get it if you like that piece enough? It doesn't have to be, this was just an example, but if you see a piece that's the opposite of what you lean more towards, would you not get it because it doesn't fit in with the others? Or would you still get it because you're like, man, I don't care, this is a badass piece and I want it? Like I think Steve's E Honda.
For me, I think it depends. Like what we were talking about earlier, it just depends on the statue. But the majority of my statues are more realistic takes on comic book characters. So to me, it would kind of stand out. So I would have misgivings of getting it, because when I first saw it, I was in love with it, right? I was like, oh man, this is dope. But then when I'm imagining it in my collection, I'm like, it's really going to stand out. It's not going to me, it's not going to flow. It's not going to look right. That image that you posted a while back, CMP, with all the X-Men, I was looking at that. I was like, that looks like X-Men 97 to me. Even Bishop stands out a little bit because it's got more details than the other statues. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's people that's what they love. I get it, but I more gravitate towards the stuff with the more detail. I like that kind of stuff. I don't know. To answer that question, I don't know what I'm going to do about that, because I love the statue, but it's like it really is going to stand out in my collection. Like look at, like, to me, this is all comic book looking, especially like the X-23. That's comic book. The the fastball special, that's definitely comic book. Bishop is the more detailed statue out of all those to me.
I think the Archangel is kind of very detailed.
Yeah.
Okay, if Steve, you might be able to do it. You're a whiz on the computer. Can you find pictures of hand of the beast? I saw some posts of guys that had pictures on hand of beast. I don't know if they posted them in CNP or where they posted them, and especially the feet or the legs. I mean, take a look at it, and you'll see the cartoon, or not the cartoon, I guess the comic style. Luke had said it's a smooth blue suit. Only so much you can do with the rest of it. Fire explosion stands out more to me. Very hard to do that without looking comic style. I disagree. I mean, you have some customs that can do that. I did this before, Steve. I mean, I think I did it with Cash, and I showed the detail of the Wolverine suit. I mean, even the belt and his gloves. You can put some detail on those belts and gloves. For the Cyclops, and his boots, his belt, his glove, all that stuff can be done.
Yeah. Like, to me, this is very comic booky, right? This looks like, I like the statue. Don't get me wrong, but it's very comic booky.
Look, I never saw the toes, man. He pointed at super long toes. Yeah, but if you look at it's missing a lot of detail with the fur and everything else. If you look at the in-hand pictures.
Yeah. Nelson is saying the only reason why statues went more realistic is because it was an artist's interpretation of the comic book character that people were drawn to because it was never done before. He says it doesn't equal better, right? But then my retort to that would be something we talked about earlier before you hopped on, Matt, is the Grail pieces, right? Look at all the XM pieces, the interpretation, the detail. We talked about all the big Grails. We couldn't name one that was more comic booky looking than that was a Grail. Like look at Hulkbuster, Ghost Rider, Hawkman, Prime One, Superman Hush, XM Phoenix. A lot of this stuff's XM, right?
XM Darkseid.
Hulk transformation. Yeah. So if you look at all these quote unquote Grail statues that people love, that they want to get a hold of, that hold their value, that people cut, that people want, look at the Mega Red behind you. Look at all these statues that people absolutely love. They are not comic booky looking. They are not animated looking. They are not bright colors and all that stuff. They are interpretations that artists have done of the character that have more realistic approach to it, more detail in the suit, more detail in the paint. And they look incredible because they are painted that way. You know what I'm saying? So exactly. You say it doesn't equal better, but to me it does. Maybe not to you, but for the majority of the community, I feel like it does, because those quote unquote Grails that everybody loves are more, artist interpretation. They're, painted more realistic, you name it, more detail. To me, those are not as comic book accurate as, say, Sideshow's X-Men line.
It's funny you said that with XM as the example, because to this day, people still try and buy that XM Black Panther that I have. People love that Black Panther. And it was my favorite Black Panther piece up until I bought the custom one where he's kneeling on top of the Panther head. And it's probably because it was more of a realistic take for me.
Steve, I just sent you a photo of the XM Darkseid. Now, if this were a cartoon, how would this translate? Look at the detail. If you know if you can zoom in on it. Look at the chainmail.
Well, we even brought up that new custom one, right? That new custom one isn't comic booky. The one that everybody loves that's on Throne.
Man, that thing is amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if this were How would this translate if it were comic? I mean, I guess it would translate fine. I guess it could, but it's just different. That's all. I guess the point is it's just different. And when the majority of your collection looks like that, and then you have one or two pieces that have a comic book feel.
Yeah, there you go. XM Thanos, prime example. There's a lot of people that love that statue, and to me, it still correlates with the sideshow one because it's got the same detail. It's darker paint. It's they added stuff to the suit. It doesn't look very comic book accurate, but it's a badass interpretation of the character. Nelson says.
Yeah. No,
those so-called grails were during the time that style was just getting started. Well, if that was the case,
why are we going backwards?
Then why does everybody still want those statues?
Well, why go backwards?
I've been thinking of doing this, to be honest.
Beast 51 says it best. He said, X-Men Thanos Lady Death looks incredible, especially Thanos portraits, based on a comic, but very realistic.
Yeah. That's what I'm meaning by this. I'm not saying like it looks like a movie star. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying the realism of the actual paint and the details and everything. You can tell the difference between a comic booky looking statue and one that's more realistic. XM did that. XM did that a lot with their statues. They had a lot of detail and it looked more realistic. If you put an XM statue and a Cyclops statue next to each other, you could tell the difference.
Oh yeah.
Hold on. So let me ask you. So Nelson says for the said for the money. Nelson Ortega said for the money. Explain? What do you mean? What do you mean by that, Nelson?
But this is pretty cool. You gotta admit, Jared. This is Sideshow's Thanos bust they did. They did the comic booky like on it, like on the piece itself.
Somebody did this. This isn't how it came, right? Originally,
right?
It came a different. This is custom paint.
Yeah.
So somebody preferred this way of it, right?
But it's pretty cool.
I prefer the other way. Yeah, it's cool, but I prefer the other way.
I like this a lot. But I might do this to my piece, just this thing right here.
If you want to look inferior, go ahead.
I might do it.
Just do it anyway.
Exactly what Norman's saying. Those statues bring characters we only imagined to life, right? That's what I love. I love seeing the characters that I loved as a kid brought to quote unquote life, like realistic. They could be standing next to me, in my room, and I'm saying to me, my X-Men, that's how I love to collect my collection. Now, a lot of people love. Okay, well, I love comic book art, so I swing that way. I'm more of a comic booky collector. I know Jose, for example, he loves that comic book look. He that's his thing. But I think for the majority of collectors out there, it's not that way. And it's funny to me, like most of those comics in that post I made were all comic this and comic that. But a lot of people, it's funny because a lot of people, those people that I've seen in there, don't read comic books. They didn't come from a comic book background. So why does that make sense to collect comic booky stuff that looks comic booky if you don't read comic books?
It might be what first connected them to that character, even if they didn't actively read it. Maybe that was their first exposure to those characters. So I can see that. Yeah. Now, what I really like is like that Cyclops, for example, how one looked more comic and one looked more realistic for the swap out. And another one that comes to mind, one of my favorite statues is top 5 again, is my LBS Hulk. And I got the enraged version because to me, that's more of a realistic
take on it.
Yep, but then you also have the option for the comic head or for, you know what I mean? So when you can mix and match it and say, hey, here's a great piece. Here's something for the people that like it more comic-y, and here's something for the people that likes it more realistic. And I think
so Piggy, you didn't realize before that's the route that you more are drawn to, right? It seems like you said earlier when we first started that you like that more comic book look, but I think you've kind of realized that you like the more realistic looking statues over the comic book ones.
Yeah, it made me sit here and think about my collection because like off the bat, if you would have just asked me a general conversation, like, hey, which one you like, I would have been like comic, and I would have went right back to what I was doing. But as we talked about it more, I started like analyzing every piece, and I'm like, what are my favorite pieces in my collection, and what do those lean toward? And I was like, man, they do lean towards the more realistic. I still like them both, but yeah, I'm more realistic leaning. Definitely.
And like I said, Matt's the one that brought this up to me a long time ago. So all credit to him for this idea. But like I said, it's been kind of stuck in my head when we were talking about that Cyclops thing. I was like, I love the Cyclops, but does it really fit into my collection? Like, will it look good in my collection? Like, Steve, like for example, right? There has been a few different flashes that have come out, right? That we've seen, that I've showed, like customs and stuff like that. But you seem to want to stick to Prime 1. Why? Because the detail and maybe the paint's better and all that stuff, right? Or no?
Yeah, for the most part, it's definitely more modern. And if I were to like go with the LBS route, I feel like it wouldn't mesh well with the
like you're stepping backwards.
A little bit. It's just tough though, man. Like if I like I think it goes back to Piggy's question he asked you earlier. If it's too comic booky, would I add it? Even though I loved it, even though I liked it a lot, like would I add it to my line? I think I would, to be honest. Like I think the more character representation does it for me, because like I collect, I want the Justice League line, and if it's the one I really like, I think I'm just gonna go for that more than the modern realistic approach. I would think for the most part. I think that's what I'm doing with Prime 1. Like I'm going for the one I really like. It's not comic booky, but the one out of all these, like for you guys, which one would you guys say is the most comic booky out of all? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these guys?
Most comic booky?
Yeah.
Probably Superman, honestly, to tell you the truth. But
I was about to say the same thing.
Yep.
But it's still a more realistic statue than the sideshow one.
Well, I think with the Superman, it's just the sheer presence of it, right? And I think it's the pose and everything else. I mean, it's just Superman.
It's
right?
funny because I think it's the let me turn on the light really quick. I think it's Hawkman. Hawkman in person is a different type of paint. Sorry, probably won't show up. I think Hawkman, because like the paint on him is really solid compared to like the realistic approach Prime 1 takes with the skin textures and the resin they use as their sculpt. I think the Hawkman again takes it for most comic booky.
So I haven't seen the Hawkman in person. The only one I've seen all the other ones in person. I haven't seen Hawkman, so I don't know.
You'll see it at statue.
I understand what you're saying, Steve.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. Like for example, imagine if his wings were super fine detailed, like when you see the feathers, right? If the feathers looked realistic, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
And the way his skin, I know what you mean by his skin. I've seen that piece with the skin and everything else. But it's also an older piece too, right? Mm-hmm. So that's something to take into consideration. It's older than most of these other pieces. So when you think about it, if that were done today, I mean, I'm sure it would be done completely different with a lot of better detail.
Well, look at the new. That's a prime example. Look at the newer Prime 1 Hush, right? They added more detail to the statue. They added different head sculpts that look different. They have more detail to it, right? And I thought that statue was better than the original one because I like the more detail they added to it.
Oh wow.
Frenzy saying, I miss XM. Like I said, by the way, I was able to talk to Brian Tan at San Diego Comic-Con, who formerly worked at XM. He's interesting on his take regarding the future statues. Random Korean says, when non-collectors look at some less detailed comic statues, can easily give off the childish toy syndrome. Prime 1 XM takes on them can change their perspective to lean more towards art. Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
I agree.
He said, Nelson saying XM artists are now working with Sideshow That is why you're getting more realistic touch on sideshow pieces, which makes sense because we've said that. Me and Steve has said it. Like some of the newer ones, it looks like old XM pieces. Think about that new Batman, that Batgirl statue, right? That one's got so much detail and the paint's amazing on it. I mean, me and CP talked about that. It's like that looks like an XM piece, right?
Ghost Rider.
Yeah, Ghost Rider. You can tell they've gone up. They've kind of, for the most part, gone away from the more comic booky stuff. The XM line, the X-Men line seems to be staying in that era.
Well, it was intended for.
Yeah, I think that's the look they're going for with the X-Men. But the newer statues, like the Batman stuff, it seems like they're more detailed. The paint's more realistic. The skin tones, more detail. It looks like XM pieces.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's a great comic booky statue for you, Jarhead?
A comic booky statue?
Yeah.
For example, the Cyclops from Sideshow, the new one. It's very comic booky looking to me. I still love it. You know, it's not that I don't love it, but it's very comic book looking.
I've got one for you, Steve. Matter of fact, when you were here, you took pictures of the Conan. It's the cover of Conan 88 with it has Belay, Zulu, and Conan on it. That's Hard Hero, right? And that's actually a comic book cover. If you look up Conan 88.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Right. So those are pretty good statues, and that, you know, it's the cover. It's the cover of one of the comics. And it looks, I don't know if you still have the picture you took. So those are statues that look just like that.
Man, so saying all that, do you think comic booky statues are fading away or going to be, I guess?
I think there's less people that want those kind of statues than the more realistic ones. Like even Nelson, he's saying that when the resale value takes priority over artistic concept, people are drawn to it like flies, and for the wrong reason. I don't think that's what we're talking about. I think we're talking about the statue looks better. I'm not talking about resale value. It's a grail because everybody loves it and they think it's a great piece of art, not because it automatically is worth some money, because that's not the case. You know, just because it's a amazing piece doesn't make it worth anything automatically. People resonate with that Hulkbuster because they love that statue. The Prime 1 statue of the Hush Superman, people love that statue. If you compare the Sideshow one versus the Prime 1 statue, you'll have more people love the Prime 1 over the Sideshow one. Yes, there are people that love the Sideshow one more. I'm not saying that. But there's more in the community that would pick the Hush Superman over the Sideshow one. That's what I'm getting at. I'm not necessarily talking about, that one's worth more money, so I want that one. That has nothing to do with it. What I gravitate more towards is the artistic approach to the characters that I love.
I think he's also coming from, like, some people look at grails based off the resale value too. I think there's people with that perspective. I've seen that a couple of times. Like for me, I really don't care about what's another grail that I really don't care about a lot of, it's called Doom on Throne from Sideshow. It's considered a grail to a lot of people. I've seen it, like I like it a lot, but the scale is not right to me. But
I would never get that statue.
That's what I'm saying. Like he probably, that's what.
Yeah, it's small.
To me, there's not detail on it. Just because it's a grail, I wouldn't want that statue in my collection. I don't like it. Liked it. I don't know if I would take it if somebody gave it to me. I'd give it away as a free gift on the show one day if I received it for free.
Well, I guess because at the time, and there was an era when it was like the only Doom on Throne. I think that's why. But if you take some of the Doom on Thrones now that are custom, and you put that one next to it,
it would smash it.
So,
Look at Franco's Doom on Throne. That thing is way better, and that was to me more considered a grail because it looked better than that sideshow one. Any of the custom ones after that one have looked better, but
and they're bigger and have more presence and everything else. I mean, again, though, that was at the time when it came out, it did its thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I said, we all have what we think is like. We all love what we love, right? We all, either a comic book or more accurate. It is what it is. We collect what we love, right? I'm not saying one statue is better than the other. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying, to have a great statue has got to be more realistic. I'm not saying that. For me personally, though, I gravitate more towards those kind of statues, and that's just my collection. And that's why I don't know if I would collect some of the sideshow pieces, because to me, they look cheaper. They look more comic booky. They look like a toy versus an actual piece of art to me. That's just my opinion.
I think you answered this earlier, but would you get the sideshow Cyclops, the new one?
I don't know yet. I'm contemplating it. I love the statue, but it just doesn't fit my collection.
Maybe just put him off to the side, like put him on a pedestal, so he's not over there with the other X-Men. Let him be like kind of standalone.
I mean, I could do that too. I don't know. Like, it wouldn't look good in the midst of all my other statues, if that makes sense. Just like people don't want like a bunch of like X-Men that are battling a Sentinel and then one just standing still, not doing anything. Like the Dazzler. Like people were like, okay, well, I've got all this X-Men in the middle of a fight, but then I got Dazzler over there, like, hey, I'm dancing,
Right.
like singing. Like people don't want that. They don't want like everything makes sense, and then you have that Dazzler statue.
I had an analogy, but it's gonna come off wrong. Because it's not
even better, Matt. Even better.
So, and it's not. It's gonna come off wrong, and I don't mean it this way. But it's like, okay, you have a china cabinet with glasses in it, and then you got a red plastic cup. You know what I mean? It's gonna be different.
Yeah, it doesn't blend in. Yeah. But it doesn't mean you can't have a red plastic cup.
Right, it doesn't mean. And like I said,
they made a whole song about Red Solo Cup and how he loved the Red Solo Cup. So people might love a Red Solo Cup,
So 2 comments that stick out that kind of went with what I was saying and what CMP said earlier is like Ramos said, realistic or comic. I'll go with whatever connects me to it, and I can go with either. And when I was saying before, like people go with what they connect with, MTEL said, I grew up reading and drawing comic books. I tend to lean more of a comic book style. And I think like a lot of people, it's that nostalgia or that memorabilia, like what do you connect with? Because there are certain pieces that we've all looked at and we're like, man, this looks like a giant Mattel toy. Why would anybody want this? And then you see the same people that are like, man, I've got to have this. They'll sell everything just to get those pieces. And then when you talk to them, they're like, yeah, I started collecting Mattel. You know what I mean? So then it makes sense.
Prime example, the new PCS Devastator.
There you go.
PCS Devastator, right? There's people that love that statue, right? I like that statue a lot, but I would want more weathering on it. I want more detail, a little bit, like here and there.
Battle damage. Yeah, battle damage. Like
certain people love it because it's straight from the cartoon, right? It looks like a big Mattel toy, right? Yep. Some people love that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I just wanted to get people thinking about what do they collect in their collection, like what do they gravitate towards, because we don't talk about that. We don't talk about what kind of statues do we gravitate towards. We just say, oh, that's cool looking, that's this and that, but does it really fit in our collection, or does it matter? Like I just wanted to have this conversation because I've never heard anybody talk about it before.
I heard it on CP once, but it's okay.
I've never heard of CP ever.
Tuesdays, 8:00. But that's why I use that example of like that April O'Neil with the turtles. Like I got the PCS April O'Neil kind of animated version, but she looked good enough to blend in with my Prime 1 movie pieces, and I threw her right in there with. And that's why I said I think it just depends on the piece, because maybe I would have saw another artistic take and I would have been like, there's no way I can put this over there with them. So I get what you're saying.
Even some of the PCS pieces, I've heard a lot of people complain about because they look too comic booky. They don't have enough detail. I've heard a lot of that, people complaining about PCS statues, but there are people that's what they want, right? They want that less detail, that more comic booky look. They want that kind of stuff. So like,
but here's another take, and I thought about this, and this might sway you a little bit, Jarhead, because I really like that sideshow Cyclops. I think it's fantastic. You know, again, I have my pet peeves on it, right? But I thought about getting it and having it custom painted to where the detail could pop out on it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
To where I could do something with the gloves or the belt, or, you know what I mean, and the boots or something like that, just with some shading or some separation for some things. And, you know, and customize it in a way to where it would, while I still maintain some comic, you know, aspect to it, but you could put some detail in it, which would then maybe, you know, go better with what you already have or what you have existing. And, you know, maybe you can have it, you know, because if it's separation enough to where you have pieces to where it's still a nice statue. I mean, it's a great statue. I love the concept. I really like it. They did a fantastic job for it, but it's just
I don't know, and I've kind of thought about it. It's weird too, because the style that I love, you know, I grew up reading comic books like my whole life, like since I was like 10 years old, like maybe younger than that. I've read comic books ever since then. I've loved comic books. I've read it pretty much my whole life, and I don't gravitate towards statues that are comic booky. I don't think, to me, that when I look at a statue like that, it's not artistic. Like, I like artistic type things.
Right.
And to me, if you're copying and pasting what that statue looks like from the comic book to, and I get it, people like they want straight from the comic books. I get it. I get that. But for me, it's not the case. And I think a lot of collectors are like that. If I look at other people's collections, right, that realistic takes over the priority over the comic book stuff. And I think a lot of people that are leaning more towards comic book stuff stay with the sideshow pieces because they're more comic book accurate. They don't deviate from the comic book stuff. Prime example, Superman they just came out with, the one where he's flying in the air. There's certain people that love that statue. I would argue that a lot of the people that collect that statue, if you look in their collection, it's mostly comic booky looking statues.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's funny that a lot of the conversation tonight has been around that sideshow Cyclops, because Matt, you were saying you were thinking about getting it and just blinging out the paint, and I was thinking about getting it and talking to either Mark Books or talking to X-Men Exclusives to see who did his custom base, because I don't want that Sentinel base, but I think the piece overall is amazing. And I think the same, not argument, but topic of you prefer more comic or more realistic, you can kind of take that to a lot of aspects. Like, do you prefer the busy bases or like a plain base, like the half scale Raphael that PCS just dropped? I think it just depends on the piece, and I guess now that I'm thinking about it more, the collection. And like Beast 51 said, I think that this was a great topic because it really has you thinking about your collection and what do you like and what you're willing to blend into it.
I got a question. So, what you say you don't like this? You don't like the Sentinel?
The base,
Really?
yeah, I don't like the base at all. I love the whole statue, but the base does not look like it matches the rest of the statue. Like the rest of the statue looks like polystone or sculpt, and the base looks like
PVC,
vinyl, and
looks PVC-ish.
Yeah,
Okay. I get. Well, again, but that's where the you know, blinging out the repainting it or redoing it. You know what I mean? Would come in handy where you add more detail to it or what have you.
I feel like Nelson thinks I'm attacking him personally. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, bro. I'm just saying my personal collection is that way. You know, everybody has what they gravitate towards more. You know, if that's what you want to collect, that's what you want to collect. All power to you. I just wanted to get, because I never thought about it. I never thought about it until Matt brought it up to me one day. And like I said, when that Cyclops hit it brought it back up to me, and I was like, wait a minute. When I look at my collection, that statue would stand out. Now, I still love the statue, but to me, I gravitate more towards realism. I do, and I've read comic books my whole life, so I don't know, what that entails, what that makes me, but I love realistic looking statues. I don't prefer a statue that looks straight out from the comic books. I don't. I don't like animated style like looking statues. I don't. That's just a personal thing. You might love it. I just wanted to get that idea in your head and say, okay, what do I collect? I didn't realize I collect more comic book statues than I do realistic, and vice versa. I didn't realize I collected more realistic statues than I do comic booky. But I do. That's what I gravitate towards.
Like
not a lot of people think about that.
Like, for example, what's the okay, it's an extremely rare piece, right? What is it? The Shogun Wolverine, all the tattoo painted on him with the tree or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Franco's.
That's a work of art, man. I mean, that's not gonna look right next to another piece.
The Cyclops from Sideshow.
Yeah, but again, like I've got Bowens, you know what I mean? So but they're not. They're in another room, separate. It's a different setup type thing, or they're isolated to represent. Well, no, I don't have anything really isolated. My stuff's scattered all over the house.
Rambo says, I think you can. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, Matt saying like they're not just mixed and matched in with each other, like comic realistic, anime. You can have divided into sections.
Yeah.
Behind my bar, I've just got a couple of Bowen pieces mixed in with the alcohol. You know what I mean? So it's and then I've got another room that's got there's 3 sideshow pieces out there that are really detailed, look good. You know what I mean?
Rambo says, I think you can separate the two if you have the space. But like my mindset recently has been getting more realistic pieces. So like, I would have, because everybody's issue is space, right? None of us have like a lot of space besides Piggy.
Wow.
No.
So like I could not have that Cyclops in the middle of all my X-Men. I just couldn't. It would bother me so much. Like just like you in your food, right, Piggy? Like you couldn't have your food touching. There's the same thing with the X-Men. I couldn't have that Cyclops in the middle of everybody.
That's why I get an example. If you really love that piece, I would say get it. And if you have a spot where you can put like a pedestal in the corner, put it in the corner or put it, off to the side where he's not mixed in the middle of the more realistic ones, but you can still get it and have it and appreciate it and have not detract from the other more realistic ones.
Yeah. Nelson saying he doesn't take it personal. MTL says, I have the XM Spider-Man 2099 next to the new Sideshow Spider-Man. You can tell the difference in detail and color, but I still like them both. Hey man, that
can work out cool too. Yeah.
To me, that would drive me crazy having those two next to each other. I couldn't do it, but that's just me.
Check out Luke.
Luke says scale also helps, but Bowen wouldn't look as good in 1/3, which it's funny because, imagine the statue that you love blown up, right? Like to me, most of the statues that I love blown up would still look good because of all the detail and the paint and everything. If I saw like that Cyclops one, if it was 1/3, I wouldn't like it. I don't think.
That Captain America is a good example. That CMP just showed.
This is the LBS in 1/6. So
yeah,
it looks good right there for that size, but I don't think it would look good as a 1/3 statue.
That's what she said.
Let's see here. Resin Ronin says, I mix it all for the win. I have my PCS turtles next to my vintage TMT toys, one for NECA toys. I like nostalgia in my display. My Predator, I have movie props with my Predator statues.
I like that too.
Yeah.
And he says, but the LBS cap looks just like that. I would disagree.
Whoa.
I think the LBS cap is more detailed and the paint's better and all the above. So, but like I said, this is just my opinions. I just wanted to have a talk because I didn't realize what I gravitate more towards. And like I said, maybe you gravitate towards comic book, and maybe you don't care. You just mix it all together. But to me, I just couldn't. I couldn't do that. It would bother me too much. It wouldn't be cohesive to me. It wouldn't flow. Right. It would be like comic book, realistic. Comic book, realistic. It just wouldn't flow for me. It wouldn't look good to me. But not everybody's like that. I wouldn't collect. I wouldn't put 1/3 next to my quarter scale statues either. Like I just would separate them. To me, that I just wouldn't do that.
I'm just saying, keep that in mind when you see me eating and all of my food is separate and not touching. I'm gonna pull this clip up.
That doesn't bother me at all, bro. But it's funny that you do that. Just imagine me though when I'm sitting next to you and I'm mixing all my food together.
Oh man, I gotta look the other way. I'll have to look.
Well, like look at this. It's going to the same place to eat.
I will think.
The burrito.
I'll think.
Ramo saying, like the Sideshow 1/4 comic cap I own is my favorite cap in the market over the XM realistic take. It's all preference. I agree.
I just came up with something.
But I wouldn't put that one next to my XM pieces. I just wouldn't.
Since I collect a lot of the Thanos on throne portraits, I just thought of something. What if you had a modernized statue? Like, give me an example, Jarhead. What's like one of your favorite ones in your collection?
Modernized statue?
Or realistic, whatever.
One of my favorites.
You only got 2. Come on.
I've got more than 2, buddy. Wolverine in the glass.
Okay, so let's say they did that. Do you think that's you consider that a realistic one, right?
Yeah.
What if they did the portrait comic booky? Would that bother you?
Yeah.
It would.
Yes.
I don't.
It wouldn't flow to me. Why would you have a comic book body and everything else is more realistic, and then you have a comic book head? That doesn't make sense to me.
That's what they did with the Magneto, Sideshow Magneto.
First of all, I would like, how dare you?
I don't know. I feel like that's a good
But that's
example.
why I think I like the options, like what I mentioned with the Cyclops, or even with the LBS Hulk, where you can pop a comic book portrait on there or a more realistic portrait. And like you even said, like with the Wolverine, with the Magneto, I think the one that Sideshow did versus the customs, both the gray hair and the one with the helmet where he's kind of screaming, I think those are 3 totally different styles. So it can work depending upon what you want for your collection. So I think all of those are a good example. And I think if they had an option, like Jarhead could still keep the portrait he has on that Weapon X now, or he can, or you could swap it out for people that like more comic-y. I think that opens up that piece for a lot of other collectors.
Yeah.
I think I'd go that route. If it's a comic booky portrait and like modernized suit, I'll be okay with it.
Yeah.
I win.
Yeah, I wouldn't mix my food together, as Pete says. So, speaking of, Sideshow just released their big head on Throne. I don't know if y'all have caught that, the unboxing of it. So,
The motor.
Yeah, big head on Throne. Two-hander.
Definitely.
CMP, you got that coming in, right?
Yeah, that should be. I haven't got an email yet, but that should be. Sure, it's already paid off, so I'm waiting for that thing.
Should be shipping soon because the Archangel is shipping.
What?
Yep.
Man.
Yeah, normally if they show the video, right, they're shipping, right?
It's funny because I saw the video and I paid it off that second. I was like, oh my god.
Let's see here.
Spoilers,
Man.
I love it. I know it's not that many pieces. The base is kind of boring, but man, it looks so freaking good.
I'm just happy they did the character. Very happy.
Yeah. You know, this is gonna have me sell a piece. I'll post it up later.
It's a big ass piece though, man.
I know. Look at him.
Awesome.
I wonder if this is considered quarter scale because I mean he's a big character, so
Yeah, in the book or in the books, he's like that size. I would feel like in quarter scale, right?
yeah. Y'all can see this video, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, see that base is really boring.
Yeah, but I think the eyes are on him, right?
100%. I just
And they
when
I love
dropped some
I
stuff
love
because
the paint on him, the yellow and everything.
yeah.
remember initially when they very, very first like teased this was coming, the base was more intricate.
Oh
And
yeah. With the
drops,
monitor and everything.
screens and stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
So look at the paint on this, right? I wouldn't call this comic book.
No, definitely not. It's definitely
I would
modern.
call it more realistic, right? Because it's like got the weathering and the detail. Like if you look close, there's all kinds of like intricate like metal pieces. Like
All the facial details and the mouth and everything alone. Yep.
Press pause.
plus.
Go back a little bit. Yeah, right there. Do you guys? I love like the little rivets around the piece right there where he's putting his hand in the yellow piece. Like it looks
Oh,
like
yeah.
the metal's being like expanded a little bit.
Yeah.
I love that, man. Like I don't know. That's a little
really
bit of detail I saw. And you know what else
What-
I saw here too? Like the black pieces right behind his head, the little circle, all those circles. Those
Uh-huh.
remind me like I don't think Sachi would have ever done that. I would think XM Studios would have done that.
Yeah, I
That
agree.
little piece of detail.
Like this to me is XM quality. Like
Yeah.
like look at the like you were saying like the folds right here, like where
Yeah,
the
folds.
that yellow part is, and like it
love
looks
that.
like I don't know if it's like a cushion or like it's stretched material.
Mhm.
It looks good.
Yeah.
Dude, the back of this looks amazing. I love this.
It does look good.
This has me like looking forward to Loki on Throne. I can't wait till that comes out.
Look at the teeth, dude. That's dope.
The lips and everything look great.
Are you putting him next to Red Hulk?
I was gonna put him next to Thanos on Throne, but we'll see. I'll move him around.
You know what I like about this piece a lot is it's not complicated to put together.
Was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces?
That looks like the easiest like assembly ever.
I'm kind of afraid of the.
Be the hardest one trying to get the pieces in the grooves.
Oh, it's edition size 200. Do you see that?
Yeah.
You should get this if you guys want it.
I think the head is light though. Like look how you picked it up.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's very
You can
light.
tell
Especially
that
if
he-
you stay on
he-
that rod like that.
Yeah, he didn't struggle one bit. I think it's a very light head. Pause.
But that's a good thing because people would complain if that started to kind of lean forward.
The paint like makes up for it, I think. The sculpt looks cool, but the paint definitely like makes it pop a lot. You can forget about the weight.
I don't think this suffers from the going from comic book to modern looking. The whole thing looks modern to me.
Yeah, I like this a lot.
I do too.
Matt, I was gonna pick up the Bowen Modoc for like $500-$600 because that's what it like it commands.
Yeah,
But then this came out.
yeah. What's the? I mean, if you want to, you know.
Do y'all wish it had light ups?
I do.
Yeah, I do.
I imagine if that floor grating lit up, right, and then like his like middle thing in the middle of the gem lit up. That'd be dope.
Yeah, I would love that. See, right there, the light would have been badass. Like a purple or yellow light right there on the base.
Yeah, like lighting from the bottom, like like a bright one,
Or white, even
Kinda
white.
like-
Cool.
like the Wolverine one.
Yeah, that'd be really nice.
Yeah,
This
I had found. I don't want to take away from this one. This piece. I had sent you some pictures. I had found some pictures of the beast that I was talking about
I'll get it.
in a comparison to. You're talking about difference of detail. Obviously, one's cartoon, one's.
Is anyone gonna pick up this piece other than me?
How much was it?
$1,000, but it's edition size 200. So if you're thinking about it, I would have got it yesterday.
Oh man.
I don't know, man. I like it for sure.
Put hashtag CMP on it if you buy
I think everybody needs to stop saying this because he'll hear you.
it. Probably.
I don't know, man. For me, that's a piece that's like it's an obscure. I don't know.
I really like it, and just the fact that I know we're probably never gonna get a MODOK again. I couldn't figure out where I put him.
So these are pictures Matt brought up.
So what I was doing was just making a comparison of the, like, if you show the Beast picture, look at its leg, and if you zoom in on his foot, you can see the difference of, see how that looks, and then you can see an older piece. Now these both by Sideshow. It's an older piece, and it just has more texture and detail to it. I think for fur, when you look at it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
You see the difference?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's some other pictures that have, the detail, like even his head and his hair, the hair on his head in comparison. But again, I know it's the comic book that they were looking for, but look at the detail on that piece right there. And look how the fur is done.
Sideshow piece.
It's a Sideshow piece. It really is. So like I said, it can, they do it. They can do it.
I gotta say really quick, if you guys ever, everyone that's watching too, if you ever get a chance to go see somebody else's collection, like I would 1000% go. Seeing Matt's collection, like I hate you, Matt, sometimes because like now I want to change my whole style, but it's cool to see, man. Like he has this whole lineup. It's freaking all. I think the only way it works is the way Matt has it set up, honestly. But it has me thinking.
Appreciate that, man. Thanks.
No, man. Like
my collection's small though. If you notice, it's not that big, right?
Yeah, but that's what we always talk about. It's the way you display it, like the way, like the story behind everything about this. So that is like a huge plus.
Hey, size doesn't always matter.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like if you get a chance, I went to Dion's house. I went to a couple other guys' house and got to see their collections. This stuff pops. This thing is, I feel like 90% of the people out there, Matt, would not collect this. They'll be like, oh, that's an old piece. That's Conan. Who knows about Conan? Like, I'd rather get a Batman. But look at that, man. This has me thinking.
It's a great, dude. That's a great piece. The quality and everything else, especially if that's your character, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So I went to a comic book store today, and I saw the older Scarlet Witch from Sideshow.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that had a lot of detail on it for what it is. I was like, I don't like the cape on it, but I was like, oh man, this has a lot more detail than I thought it did when I saw it in person. The same thing, the Black Widow, the new one with where she's shooting the blue things. They had both of those at that store, and I was like, oh man, these definitely have more detail in person than I saw in pictures. So like you said, I would definitely, if I ever was interested in a piece, or maybe just like go over to somebody else's house and look at some pieces, because sometimes the pictures don't convey how good the statue is in person.
Yeah.
That's why I said some of the best female portraits I've saw were from Sideshow. Even a lot of their older ones, they always have done a great job on the sculpt of the female portraits. And matter of fact, that new Batgirl, I think, might be the best portrait, in my opinion. I can't think of a better female portrait than that new Batgirl portrait by Sideshow.
It looks good.
What's funny though? Like Matt had one in the box, and I was like, man, like I love your Red Sonjas. Why? Where's the OG one? He's like, man, that thing is so horrible. I kept it in the box. I was like, wow.
It is, man. I love the concept of it, right? Where she's holding the snow giant. I mean, if you read Red Sonja, you read Conan, you know who the Vanaheim snow giants are, right? And of course, I've got the Frazetta artwork on the wall, where Conan's fighting the snow giants. So that story, but the portrait on that piece is just, it's just. Or it just needs, I keep saying I'm going to send it to Matt to repaint it, to touch it up, to put some more modernization onto it, so I can bring it out. Yeah, it's just an old dated piece. I mean, when it came out, it was great. It's one of Sideshow's, it was their first Sonya, so it's still a great piece. I love the concept. I just just don't have it out, and it's just an old piece, man. So,
do you think maybe it could be 10 years from now we may be saying that about some of the pieces that we have
absolutely.
now? Yeah,
No,
throw it
absolutely
in
not.
the box.
Absolutely not.
I think so, but you're gonna have. I think there's gonna be those pieces that are gonna they're gonna hold their own and stand the test of time, like songs, right? You know, we still listen to some classic songs from. I mean, I still listen to Zeppelin. To me, those are classic songs, and they're not gonna get, taken away. So I think you're gonna have those pieces, but I think a lot of other pieces are gonna start to look dated, and they're gonna be like, I don't want that anymore, or they're gonna fall off. I mean, it's just the nature of business on anything, right?
Just like like the car analogy, right?
Yeah.
Classic car, right? Never goes out of style. Like some of the cars are just like I would love like an old like Chevelle or Nova, fastback Mustang. Like I love those old cars.
69 Mach any day, boy.
Shout out to Pudgy.
So yeah, Pudgy. Like that was always his analogy, right?
Yeah.
The classic cars never go out of style, and you'll always love those kind of cars. So I think like you said, the same thing pertains to statues. Is art is art, right? Some statues will never fade out of style. They'll always be really, really good or sought after. Look at Doom. Some people love that Doom on Throne, and they'll love to get their hands on it still to this day. And I think it's outdated. But there's other people out there that don't see it that way. So yeah. So might as well get the pictures.
Hey, Jar, I had to head out, man. Sorry, man.
You go nowhere, Cindy. You go nowhere. You go nowhere.
All right, Steve.
Have a good night, you guys.
Have a good night, bro.
All right. Thanks for hopping on.
Yep.
All right.
Steve's great, man. Steve, when he goes over, he came over. I guess he was getting stuff for CFP. He was running around like an FBI agent, taking pictures of everything. I was like, man, what? It was hilarious.
They're doing a whole line actually. I don't know if you remember, I showed the Wolverine and the Gambit.
Yep.
They're doing like a whole like line of X-Men, of fatty X-Men, and actually you can buy them as a whole pack, and you get some money off it if you buy them as a 3-pack, and you actually get an extra Magneto in the white uniform too. I think like $800 for all 4 of those statues.
You think they might ever do a Storm or a Bishop?
I'm not sure. They said they're doing the X-Men line. So they've done that Wolverine, they've done Deadpool, they've done Gambit, and now Magneto. They're doing this one in a white version of this.
Yeah, I like this.
Yeah, it's different,
I wonder if Dion saw it.
I don't know. He couldn't make it tonight, but I think this is pretty cool. Like a while back, a few years ago, there was another company making like fatty statues just like this, and they were pretty popular. They always sold out, and they always ended up like people were trying to get after them all the time. So
I first saw him on one of Mr. X's videos, and I think it was like the Wolverine, or maybe it was like whichever character it was. I was like, man, I gotta get those.
Yeah.
Pretty dope.
I just think it's a funny concept. This got dropped, I think, yesterday or today. I don't remember, but you got the Mandarin.
Oh yeah, I saw it.
I think this came out really, really dope. See, this is not comic books to me. This has got so much detail, like it's ridiculous. Like if you look at the armor, I keep seeing new things on the armor.
This looks really good, like really, really good.
If you're like an Iron Man collector, I think this would be a piece that you would want. And of course it's Valhan, the Russian guy.
So much base looks good too. That base looks really good.
Yeah.
Yep. I love this, man.
You got the green skin variant, then you got the normal skin variant.
No, I gotta
just
get
switch out.
Yeah, this is dope.
I think that the group that's making this one is the group that is doing the Dark Side on Throne. I think they're doing this too.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, this looks good. This looks really good. I wonder if, because I can't remember who it was, but I don't think I've saw him in the custom groups. The guy that collects nothing but Iron Man characters. I wonder if he saw this, because this will look dope in his collection.
Yeah, I don't ever remember seeing a Mandarin statue. I don't think people do a lot of Iron Man's robes.
Yeah, this is my first time ever seeing it.
Because he's got quite a few different rogues from his lineup that I don't like. Red Guardian, Mandarin. I think I've seen a Whiplash a long time ago, but that was more of the movie version.
That dragon's dope.
Yes, I think because when it comes to Marvel, they fixate so much on the Spider-Man rogues that they never really make it to a lot of the other rogue galleries.
Yeah, but I don't think some of the other rogues carry much weight. You know what I mean?
Depends. Maybe all you. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it's just because of the mass popularity of those Spider-Man rogues. They kind of overshadow all the other ones. Because I think Mandarin's dope. I think and we get a couple of X-Men ones sprinkled in here and there, but I think the popularity and the love and nostalgia all goes to like the Spider-Man rogues. So it kind of overpowers or overshadows all these other characters.
Yeah, I only ever see like a deep dive into the Spider-Man rogues. You don't see like even Hulk. You don't see a lot of Hulk's rogues. You don't see a lot of Iron Man's rogues, Captain America's. There's all these different characters that their rogue lineups. You never see them. They're not. I guess they're not as popular. I don't know, but you just don't ever see them.
And I really want an Omega Red movie or a Sabretooth movie.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
So dope.
I mean, eventually, if they ever get back around to doing X-Men, or they would be good characters in that.
Phase 7.
Because Red could take on the whole team.
Getting him out of prison is a crazy murder.
Yeah.
Well, Sabretooth's going to be in Doomsday, allegedly. Either Doomsday or Secret Wars.
Who's playing him?
It's going to be the same guy from that played him in the
Shriver? What is his name? The guy? Shiny?
Yep.
Man, they need to get... I want to see the guy who plays Jack Reacher.
Well, they're going to bring back all these old like Fox properties and I can't think of these.
Like they did in Deadpool.
Yeah, they're going to bring them all back so you can get like your final hurrah before they reboot these characters in the next phase.
They need I would love this.
Jack Reacher would be a great
dude. Imagine him. Imagine the guy playing. I forgot his name. The guy plays Jack Reacher. Imagine if they did a Sabretooth with him.
Yeah.
The way that they did.
They need somebody that big to do it.
The way that they did Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
Dude, in that style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They need somebody that big. I can even see him doing Omega Red. Because Omega Red's that big too.
Yeah, but I think he's got the Sabretooth look more.
Yeah. I could see John Cena playing Omega Red.
Nah, he's too goofy. I can't look at him without seeing a dude naked in that movie he was in. I don't know.
So this has got painted finally. This is the prototype.
This one's been coming for a long time, right?
Yep.
I don't know why, but I kind of like it. And I'm not a Carnage fan at all.
Yeah. This was sort of a comic book cover, I believe. good old honest Abe with the Carnage symbiote on him.
You have him out when you barbecue for the 4th of July.
He's jacked too.
Yep.
He got the gun on his back. Yeah, man, they did an Omega Red like and a Sabretooth like they did Old Man Logan. Nothing goofy like, corny Superman. Superman.
They need to do
Let's talk about that.
they need to do characters that actually fit the character,
Yeah, you mean cast them that actually fit it.
Yeah, that actually is similar to.
Well, the person needs to be able to act too. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, oh for sure. I thought this was dope. It's a STL file though. I just thought it was really, really cool. Figured I'd show it. A lot of detail for an STL.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, man. Again, that's something that's on the move, right?
Yep.
And it all boils down to the paint job.
Yeah.
Whoever did this did a good job.
Yeah. They even got his little headphones. That's dope.
Yeah.
Well, look at it. Is this the actual picture? Is this the actual thing, or is this just
it's the actual thing?
Actual statue?
Yeah, the other one was a picture of it, and this is the actual file.
Look at the jeans or pants.
I think this is better than XM's. I'd want this over XM's piece.
I'd have to see it, but it definitely brings a lot to the table.
This looks good. Man,
look at that jacket, man. That's better than Sizo's jacket. That's Cyclops.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's good.
Hey, they did a fantastic job. Well, so what is this 4 scale? Or is this 6 scale? Do you know?
I don't know. I just saw the picture of it today. It's an STL file, so it could be pretty much anything you want, really.
Yeah, I guess it could be.
There's a lot of detail.
I know.
Yeah, these are getting really, really good.
Yeah, they are.
Then you got this Spider-Man. I thought this was a really dope Spider-Man.
Oh man, look at the I guess it's the wind or the power coming from underneath the
turbine.
The turbine, yeah.
I don't know how they're gonna do that without it breaking, but
I know, right?
That looks very delicate.
You know what's really interesting on this piece? It's hard to tell. Well, okay, now that I'm seeing it zoomed in a little bit. The lava, the ash looks pretty good.
Yeah.
The blow up effect looks like ash, I guess. From
like it'll depend on how they paint it, though, because it can come off.
I like the condensation or the dripping or the ice that's coming out of the right there. Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah,
Is it? I don't know what it is. It's just the
air rushing out of the turbine.
Right, like you said, though, that looks very fragile.
Really... You know what's dope is the actual pumpkin bomb is actually exploding.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if they could make that detail look kind of like you ever see lava rock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have it pretty porous like that.
I think this is a pretty dope Spider-Man, man. I like how he's dodging the
glider.
The glider, yeah, that's dope. This is it printed out. So I don't even see that little thing that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. So maybe that's how they keep it from breaking. Maybe it twists on or pegs in or magnetizes.
Yeah. Even still, I don't care how you how you cut it. The thing looks pretty tight.
Speaking of Flash, I kind of put this in here for CMP. This is another STL file, but I just thought it was a pretty good one.
Looks good.
I thought this was LBS. Didn't LBS look like this?
I don't like LBSs. It looks little fruity to me. But this is dope. I like how the metal is melting under his feet.
Oh yeah.
Like he stopped. Like it's a plain base, but I like the sculpt on this a lot better than LBS's.
Looks good.
Yeah. And this is STL.
The portrait looks good too.
I think the statue looks good. I like everything about it, but it's just I don't see Flash that juiced.
Yeah, that jacked.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought these little things were pretty cool. I got some more pictures of them later, but they're all like lit up and everything. I think it's pretty cool.
You put this on here for Buck.
Cash will love these.
Yeah. I just thought they were pretty cool. Like it's like a diorama within like a ball, like it's
a
dope.
Pokeball.
Yeah.
A little Charizard on the end. Those are pretty dope.
Yeah. I thought this was pretty cool. Attack on Titan. For you Attack on Titan fans.
So is this like concept art or is this?
No, it's already printed.
Wow. Dang.
Yeah.
Okay, now that you zoom in, but man, this is a good job. This is a great job.
I think this is the prototype.
It's dope. I showed my stepson the Prime 1 that's coming out, the big one with the giant kind of.
Yeah.
And man, he was mesmerized by that thing. Now I got to show him this.
Yeah, this is the
Oh,
Pokeballs. I think it's a cool concept.
It is.
It looks like
Man, I'm anxious.
Looks like a little miniature. What do you call a little herb? What is it?
Chia pet?
No, yeah, but like you know how like you'll grow mint in a little
Oh yeah.
glass jar or something like that.
Charizard.
Man, Cash will love these, man.
I think they're cool, man. Like the light up on them, like having on your desk or something, or like, just pretty cool. And I'm sure they're not expensive. These are some Gundam statues. But these are pretty cool.
There's a
Like
guy.
diorama.
It's a guy local to me that he's at that spot that D3 and I tell you guys about. That's by us, and he does workshops where you sign up for like 3 of his classes, and he teaches you how to paint statues. And you get a Gundam kit as part of that class, and he teaches you how to like hand paint the Gundam. It's so dope, man. He has his pieces in there on display. I'll try and grab some photos this weekend and post them. It's so dope, man. It's like a whole wall of Gundam.
When I was a kid, man, I used to be into stuff like this. What was it called? Robotech? I remember Robotech.
Yeah.
I used to be into that show a lot when I was a kid. My Hero Academia. I think this is a pretty dope statue.
These young people love My Hero Academia. I mean, they go ballistic.
Yeah, my son. This is his favorite show. It's kind of like X-Men, man. They all have different powers. Like
Yeah.
They're born with these powers. I think it's pretty cool concept. Look at the detail and paint on this one though.
Yep. And these are never expensive. Well, as expensive as other IPs.
Yeah. Like, look at that, man. That looks good. Like,
Yep.
I think
Wow.
Prime 1's doing some too. I don't think they look as good as this.
And they're probably, and Prime Ones is probably going to be 3 times the price of these.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, this looks great.
Lots of detail. Even though it's an anime style, like it still has tons of detail.
Texture.
Yeah.
I like the shoes too.
Oh yeah. It looks like he's transforming into something.
Yep.
So I kind of wanted to show these. Like they're like 1/3 busts. They're not very expensive. They're only like a couple $100 for these. But it was pretty cool.
So I love the teeth and the portrait. For whatever reason, I don't like the hair.
Yeah.
But otherwise, this looks good. Like, the teeth look great. And the base isn't obnoxious.
No. I said it's not. They're not very big. They're like 1/3 statues, but still, like a couple $100 for one. I mean, I thought this came out really good, man.
It does look good. Man, if whomever did these portraits could have did the and don't get me wrong, I love the bishop, the sideshow bishop, but I think if whomever did these portraits could have done the portraits for Bishop, it would have taken that statue to a whole nother level.
What's up, Last Joe?
Portrait,
Yeah,
man.
this came out really good. Like, I think I thought I saw that there was only a dish size of 5 on this statue.
Wow.
This is Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Dude, that portrait would be great. Look, I like this. This is really good. But
Yeah.
now imagine if this portrait was for Bishop.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
just said. Yeah.
Talk about it.
Sorry, I was interacting with the chat.
But yeah, I was saying, like, I love that Bishop statue, but if whomever did these portraits would have did the Bishop portraits, it would have taken it to the next level.
Way next level.
If I didn't already have a Power Man statue, that the first custom one that came out, I would get this. I would definitely get this.
Look how good it looks with Iron Fist.
Yeah,
Yep.
It looks like they go together.
This is a really cool piece, man.
I actually might like this a little more than mine, but I'm just not gonna go through the hassle of selling mine to get
Even that portrait. Look at that portrait, man. Whoever's doing this is great. Did great.
Yep.
Finally, the hair looks pretty good too. Doesn't look,
Yeah, it doesn't look no detail.
Yes.
right. Exactly.
I hope that whomever did this one, I hope they do Misty Knight and Monica Rambeau. The same artist. I think it would be dope.
You're stupid.
It would be dope.
What a misty night.
A Misty Knight, Monica Rambeau. You're in that Pam Grier,
Yeah.
Foxy Brown version.
I know exactly.
Yeah, you know exactly where I was going with it.
That's why I'm laughing.
Yep.
Well,
You want for other reasons.
that's it for the pictures, guys. So, I didn't think it was gonna be that long of a show today. So, I think the conversation from earlier was pretty good.
It's a good topic. Really made me really think and analyze my collection, and I'll probably do it again tonight. I'll walk through and just kind of look and think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I just when Matt brought that up and then the Cyclops came up, it kind of all like he was right because I like the statue, but it wouldn't go well with my whole collection. Like, I don't think it would look good in the middle of all my custom pieces that I've got. It's just not my style. But I love the statue. You know,
Get a little pedestal, throw it off to the side.
I mean, I could do that too, or put it in the hallway, make it a hallway piece.
Yep.
But it's a dope Cyclops. I like the whole thing behind it.
Now, I appreciate you both for this topic because I think anything that forces you to engage with your current collection, because sometimes we take them for granted and they just can become like a piece of furniture you walk past because you're used to them being there. And then when you get a topic that makes you think about, you have to really stop and stand in front of each piece and think like, hey, what does this lean toward? What would I be comfortable pairing with this? Anything that forces you to engage and get a different appreciation for what you already have is a great topic.
Yeah. I mean, even I think there was a couple people like V51 said it earlier that he didn't realize that either, that he pretty much does that too. He collects more realistic statues that he didn't think about that before. So I don't know. It was on my mind to talk about, I guess. So.
What's up, Joe?
Nelson says, I think the artist that did that Luke Cage should do a cloak and dagger. Yeah, that would be dope.
Yep.
Because no one's ever gonna do that.
Whoever that artist is, he's gonna have a job soon. I mean, a big time job soon. That's a great portrait.
Both of them, they were dope. Like both swap outs.
Yeah.
And the hair,
again,
was amazing.
That's that realism. I wouldn't want to me that stands out because it's so realistic looking.
Not that throwing on same hairstyle that they always give the brothers.
Yeah.
Right. And it's I got one of my pet peeves is a lot of times I think when you have black characters they miss the mark somehow. There's not that many of them and somehow they missed the mark. But I think that guy nailed it, whoever did it. That's that.
But like I said, I appreciate everybody for showing up tonight, man. It was a good topic. It was interesting. A lot of good discussion. I'm glad I didn't upset Nelson. But thank y'all for showing up tonight, talking about this topic. Piggy, man, what you got going on? Anything?
Hopefully I get to see a lot of you beautiful people at StatueCon in about a week or so. And until then, happy collecting.
Yeah. Let me look to see, like I know we were talking about earlier about the house situation. Maybe we could save some money all splitting a big house or something. So
yeah, just let me know.
Yeah. Matt, what you got going on? Anything?
No, unfortunately I may have to miss the StatueCon. I was trying to go. I'm really trying to go, but it doesn't look like it's gonna happen. So I don't know. Is what it is. The Dark Side on Throne, I think they still have some pieces, some spots. I don't know if you talked about that earlier.
No, I didn't.
I know that it's going to close up. The PO is going to close up on it. I think.
Looks so
next
good.
Next couple days, I think.
Huh?
I think in the next couple of days.
Yeah. Next day or so.
It looks so good with that.
I think when people get that statue in hand, I think other people are going to be like, "Why didn't I order that?"
Yeah, I think that's one of those pieces. You know what I mean? That right after it comes in hand, it's like, yo, you know what I mean?
I think if I was an easy collector, that's the dark side to own. I think for sure.
Yeah.
Just the presence of it, the light up. I mean, it's a
spot for
and it wasn't that expensive when you think about it. Like overall, like
no,
it wasn't.
This was their piece that they were doing for the collectors.
Yeah.
So they're doing a good job for it.
I'm also going to StatueCon. I won't be there till Friday though, so but I'm going to be there first thing in the morning on Friday. Looking forward to that for sure. Hanging out with everybody, talking statues, bullshitting, getting into some hijinks. So I'm looking forward to that. maybe showing somebody how to eat the right way and mixing their food together.
You know what I mean?
No way.
Instead of separating everything.
Not ever.
But yeah, man, like I said, I appreciate everybody for coming on and all the interaction with everybody in the panel and everybody, in the chat. I appreciate all that. So again, I don't think I'm going to do a show next Wednesday just because, everybody's going to be going to StatueCon, and then I'm going to be getting ready to go to StatueCon. So I don't think there's going to be a show next Wednesday. Just a heads up for everybody. But again, thanks everybody for coming out and talking statues with us. So.
Cool.